For the best prices and service on Pokemon TCG singles and products, check out ccgcastle.com and use promo code Evolutionaries-5 for 5% off your next order.
What's up, guys? I'm here, and for today's Deck Tech Thursday, I'm going to be profiling for you guys my Hoopa Silvally deck. Now, I've been testing with this one a lot online, and it's gotten me some pretty good results. Personally, whether it's competitive play or anti-meta building, I personally feel that Silvally's the key to both because of everything that Silvally offers, and not to mention Hoopa's really annoying to get around too. So, definitely makes a much better combo than people would think. And again, I've just beaten so many decks with this. Like, so many meta decks have fallen to me because of this. And instead of bragging how amazing this deck is, I'm just going to show you guys. So I run 3 copies of Hoopa from Shining Legends. Now, it's a pretty simple card. 120 basic Pokemon, not too bad. And its ability is Scoundrel Guard. Prevent all effects of attacks, including damage, done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon GX or EX. So this basically walls against pretty much the meta. Even though, yeah, the decks do have non-EX and GX card stuff, fight stuff like this. But that's why this isn't the main focus of our deck. And its attack is Super Side Bolt for a Dark 2 colorless, does 80 damage. And with a Choice Band and a new Stadium Devour Field, it's going to be two-shotting everything, doing 120 damage. So, really good numbers to be hitting there. And to go with that, run 3 copies of Type Null. Personally, this is the Type Null I would prefer to run over the one that we got in Ultra Prism. Mainly because if you're starting off with him and nothing else to really go with, then Armor Press is the better attack. Mainly just to have that reduced damage next turn. So unless you're going against fighting, there's a really good chance you're not going to knock out the Type Null next turn. So that's why I run that particular one. And next up is going to be the heart and soul of the deck, Silvally GX. Now, everything about this card here is important. First of all, with its ability, Gyro Units, your basic Pokemon in play have no retreat cost. And that's really good because Hoopa is kind of a bulky toon. That's not too bulky, but we definitely don't want to be getting rid of double colors to retreat him. So, being able to retreat with that ability is really good. And Turbo Drive is also really amazing. For 3 colors, does 120 damage, and you attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. By itself, it doesn't seem too great, but we do have the memory cards to go with Silvally to hit for all the weaknesses that we need to. Basically one-shotting everything. And Rebel GX is a pretty good one too. Same energy requirements, and does 50 damage for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So, in a tight situation where you need to knock out a really big Pokemon, Rebel GX is definitely the way to go. Alright. Next up here, I run 2 copies of Tapu Lele. Standard stuff. 1 attack, being almost such a supporter. Just amazing. And 1 copy of Yveltal with Oblivion Wing. Now, even though Turbo Drive also helps us accelerate energy from the discard, it still does cost at least 2 energy attachments, while this one here only costs 1. And there really isn't too much electric in the meta right now, not to mention fighting resistance is very good. So Buzzhole, like rocks, are most likely not going to one-shot him, at least not immediately. And last up for Pokemon, I actually run 1 copy of Dawnwing's Necrozma, because he's actually really good with Silvally. Because we use him mainly only for his ability Invasion, which is basically Stand in Zoroark, to where if he's on your bench, you can switch this with your current active. And he is a basic Pokemon. And Gyro Unit gives him free retreat, so you could Invasion and retreat without having to waste space in your deck for Float Stones. So, really, really amazing. Not to mention, even though most of our Pokemon are going to have free retreat because of Gyro Unit, Silvally does not have free retreat with that ability. And having a Silvally stuck in the active is really annoying. So, that's where he comes into play. Just to be able to get you out of that situation is really good. But you do have to be a little bit careful with him because Zoroark is very much a thing. So, definitely don't put him down with Bridget. Just put him down when you need him. Or if you're playing against a Buzzle deck, then you really don't have to worry too much. Alright, and now for our supporters, I'm going to be showing you 4 copies of Cynthia, because Cynthia is just pretty much the new big supporter now. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Can't argue it. Even I can't argue it. That Cynthia is really good. 2 copies of N, because even though we have Cynthia, N is still hand disruption. So definitely N is going to be staying here until he rotates out, regardless of how many other good draw supporters we get. And 1 copy of Sycamore, just because it's still good to have the option to draw 7 cards. It's just we're kind of more in a format now where we don't want to discard as often. Next up, I'm going to be playing 3 copies of Guzma. For obvious reasons, just getting out one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Just swing as hard as you need to, or just get the right one. Next up, going to be 2 copies of Bridget. Again, very standard. Any deck has to run at least 2 Bridget now. And my last supporter is going to be 1 copy of Gladian. Now, he's actually gotten me out of some pretty bad situations, because you run a lot of different cards here, and if something gets prized, that could really hurt you. So Gladian almost acts like a searcher for what you need. Because like, so let's say Double Colors gets prized, the memory that you need to hit for weakness against your opponent is prized. Just play the Gladian, get it into your hand, and boom, you're set. I'm not even exaggerating. I can't even tell you how many games this guy has won me. Alright, now for the items. 4 copies of Ultra Ball would never run any less. Same thing with 4 copies of a Max Elixir. I feel almost anything with Silvally has to run Max Elixir, because you want to get going with Turbo Drive as soon as possible. If, of course, you don't have a Hoopa setup. You want to go Hoopa first, but you also want to have Turbo Drive set up about the same time. Just because you just want to keep going. Like, you want to have so much ready so quick. Alright, next up here is going to be 3 copies of Choice Band, which is going to help boost our Hoopa damage. And sometimes it'll help boost the Silvally damage too, because there are going to be those weird matchups every now and then to where none of your memories are going to work. So it's good for that as well. 150, twice your 1-shot, you're 2-shotting everything. So definitely come in handy in those situations. And these are going to be the memories on run. 1 of each, because they all hit for a good portion of the meta right now. Psychic Memory hits for the Buzzle matchup. Fire Memory hits for the Dustmane Necrozma matchup. And also the occasional Metagross Solgaleo matchup as well. And Fighting Memory, of course, is for the Zoroark matchup. So it really all depends on which deck you're facing against. But most of the time, at least 1 of these memories will come in handy, because it lets you hit for weakness for that type. So being able to 1-shot a Buzzle, 1-shot a Zoroark, and 1-shot a Dustmane, amazing stuff. Alright, next up here, I run 2 copies of Field Blower. Now, another hidden use for Field Blower in this deck is that Field Blower can also get rid of your own tools. So let's say you have 1 memory attached to your Silvally, but you already knocked out that Pokemon, and most of their Pokemon from there on out are another type that's weak to another type. So you can use the Field Blower, get rid of your useless memory, attach a new memory, and then just keep hitting it for weakness again. So something to keep an eye out for. Alright, next up, 2 Rescue Stretcher. Obvious reasons, being able to get a Pokemon from your discard to your hand, too good. And I run 1 copy of Pal Pad just to help recycle our supporters. And 2 copies of Devoured Field. Now the attacks of Dark Pokemon and Dragon Pokemon do 10 more damage to the opponent's active Pokemon. This one, you do have to be a little bit more careful with this one, because this applies for your opponent too. So if you're going against Zoroark, the Zoroark will also gain the +10 from that. But that's not, most of the time that doesn't really affect you, because you're not going to be playing this unless you're attacking with your Hoopa. So let me show you what I meant earlier by the numbers. Choice Band. There you go. So you're hitting for 80 base with Super Cybolt. With a Choice Band, it's going to be 110, and Devoured Field's 120. So that gives you 2-shot to almost everything in the game. I think literally the only thing that's somewhat relevant that this doesn't give you 2 shots to is Metagross and Solgaleo. And even then, that's somewhat relevant, not even completely meta relevant. So you're going to be two-shotting everything with this guy. And most of the meta you're completely protected against. So, really good combination there. And before anyone asks, no, I have yet to really have too much problem with Gardevoir either. Even though there's dark resistance with Gardevoir. Just hasn't really affected me much. And last up here for my energy. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 basic dark energy. And of course, the 4 double colorless energy. So that does it for my Hoopa Silvally deck profile. If you guys liked the video, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And be sure to come back tomorrow for Battle Frontier Friday, where I go toe-to-toe with Professor K. Once again, let's see who comes out on top. This has been N with the Pokemon Evolutionaries, and I'll catch you guys later.